Hello, good morning everyone. Welcome to London, welcome to the headquarters of the Local Government Association. As you can see, there's a packed crowd here this morning to cover this topic. We started organising it last summer and we've been amazed at how much interest there is and a number of organisations, so many wanting to come and see this. I'm Tim Adams, I'm a programme manager at the Local Government Association and I lead on data projects, so anything to do with publishing and standards and protection and so on is the sort of area that the LGA is working on with you all, and I'm leading on this activity. And so it's my job with people I'll tell you about later who've put the day together, and we've consulted widely and we've worked out the sort of things that you probably want to hear. The purpose of the day really is to try and encourage our sector to work together and understand this immense task that's being given to us, this challenge that's not just affecting us, it's affecting all organisations that deal with personal data. But there's the new regulations come into effect on the 25th of May, and whilst they are significant and profound, there's nothing that's not impossible, but there's lots of things to be aware of and prepare, and many councils and many other partner organisations to local government have been preparing for quite some time, so we've called them in today to talk about what they're doing. But it's also to try and help us understand the data we hold, the practices and governance arrangements we have, and the basis on which we're managing and using that data. And we have to document that and be open to audit on speculation to see if we're following our policies and to make sure that we don't have data breaches or serious calamities and loss of data and other sort of interventions. I'm thankful today to a number of colleagues and organisations that we've worked with. As you can see, we work closely with the iNetwork based in Manchester in the northwest and northeastern area, and they've been helping us put together the programme. And also with the Information Governance for London network, they've been driving and helping us in understanding the best ways to approach this so we can give you the maximum information. And I'll mention some of the people by name later. Final thing to say from me really is that GDPR, which comes into effect in the end of May, 25th of May, is not really just a burden. We shouldn't be looking upon it that way. It's things we have to do, but it's also an opportunity. And the fact that data, the subject of data, looking at what data we have and what we're doing with it, is on everybody's agenda from every level of the organisation, from the most senior of leaders and chief executives down to the people doing the jobs in the offices. And so it's an opportunity to look at what we're doing and find out some of the opportunities of what we can do to sort of do things better and reuse the data and make advice and better services as a result of it. So that's an introduction from me. Welcome. I'll introduce the first speaker. We're really so pleased to have Theo Blackwell, who's come for a short time this morning. He's got other meetings, I know, afterwards. But we've known and worked with Theo for many, many years. He was a very effective ward councillor in Camden until quite recently, and he helped us and helped his council in developing data projects and looking at the information that's been available and using that to better design services and keep citizens informed and so on. So he's a cracking speaker to know all about data, and he's got experience in the private sector and the public sector as well. In recent months, he's got the grand title now as the Chief Digital Officer to the Mayor of London, so he's the London's Chief Digital Officer, and he's going to talk to us really about the things we're doing in County Hall and the opportunities he sees and how we can use those skills and organisational capabilities he has to try and encourage us to work together and connect with our partners as well. So I'm hoping he's going to set the scene for us, then we'll get into the nitty-gritty detail afterwards. Thanks, Theo.
So, good morning. GDPR. So, as Tim kindly said, I've just started at City Hall as the Chief Digital Officer for London. It's my 112th day. And I'm going to set some broader context for this because when GDPR comes into my inbox, it kind of looks like this. It's an invitation to a solicitor's firm, and it basically says I should come along and be told about compliance. And I just want to say that actually it's much broader than that. How councils are changing, we are agglomerations of data from different professions and from citizens. And it's actually fundamentally about place as well. So I can understand in an organisation where GDPR becomes one of those things where we must comply. What are we doing to hit a deadline of 25th of May? But it's broader than that. We're becoming a data economy. These statistics show how fundamental digital companies are becoming to our economy, how important the UK data economy is to Europe and the world, and also in places like London and Manchester and Bristol and Leeds. We're creating massive clusters of data-driven excellence that are bringing in talent from across the world and designing world-class services. So how we treat data and how we develop trust in data and how we deal with data when something goes wrong is becoming core business for us. So when we talk about data in terms of public services, and I look at London, it's got 32 boroughs. Each metropolitan borough has approximately 600 lines of business, each supported by technology. We have TfL, the Met Police, NHS trusts, schools, libraries and museums. We also have world-class research institutions and a number of technology clusters around those institutions that support and develop growth. That's the context for public services. What does GDPR do to that? Obviously, it sets up a series of rules, and those rules are based upon an updating and new rules coming in from the Data Protection Act 1995. And remember, this has been long negotiated. So during a period of absolutely phenomenal growth in the digital economy, negotiations have gone on around the shaping of the GDPR at a European level. It does introduce new things that we all need to know about because we're now operating in an international environment, and it gives greater respect to design and accountability and subject rights. And all of these things will be dealt with later, no doubt, in workshops. But how does it all fit together on a borough level or a city level or on a county level? What we're doing is developing a Smart London plan here for London, and data is fundamental to this. I'm a Chief Digital Officer, and my responsibility from the Mayor is to make sure that we've got policy advice and best practice spread right across London. We had the opportunity to appoint a post that was a champion of the tech sector, but we already have many people in positions like that, many of them state funded. What we need is a post that brings together the best practice so we can be greater than the sum of our parts. So our response to challenges like GDPR is bring consistency across London and champion best practice from City Hall, working closely with boroughs and public services. And we'll do this through a new Smart London plan. And a fundamental part of that Smart London plan will be how we create a new deal for city data, through leadership, better collaboration, and the celebration of innovation. And this is our proposition, and this is the wider proposition that we think data and compliance with GDPR fits in. That a smarter London uses data and technology together for the good growth of our city. It mobilises the power of data as the fuel for innovation to design, develop safe, open and inclusive solutions for city challenges over the next decade and beyond. It's the role of the Mayor to deal with the fact that London will have 1 million more people living in it over the next 2 decades. The number of devices that people will use over the next decade will go up by 12-fold. Data used by these devices is going up by around 30% each year. We're going to see total transformation in people's homes, new public spaces, developments right across the city will have embedded technology in it. So managing growth through technology and the use of data is fundamentally important. So we need to stay ahead of the technology curve rather than follow it. And a smarter London needs citywide collaboration between public institutions, utilities, our world-class creative scientific research and tech communities by and for Londoners. So those are the fundamentals in which a discussion around data sit. So we have new needs. It's not just compliance with the law. Technology offers that we'll have more technology offers for solving more complex urban problems, and these will require data. Smart technology, as I've said, will be incorporated in new developments right across our city. We'll need common standards and open approaches, enabling new digital services using our data and their data to scale. So we will need common understanding and confidence in rules. And we need to focus on security and privacy, as well as data sharing. And there have been obviously challenges over data sharing, but the more that we need to use data, the more we need to have trusted rules around this. So these pose fundamental questions for local authorities and city government. And I see city government in a sense, I mean, it's completely different from Westminster government. Westminster government's about lawmaking and rules and things like that. City government is about city administration. It's about the agglomeration of powerful sets of data and using that for the benefit of citizens. So we need to ask these questions of our organisation. And these are the kind of questions that I think have come together in local government as you've seen more and more people share services with technology. They've asked questions like, what is the nature of our technology estate? How many services and lines of business do we actually run, and what IT is supporting them? If you asked higher up an organisation, local authority, I don't think that answer would necessarily be very clear, and I think it's quite a fundamental one. How does the organisation hold data? Is it compliant, of course? And to what extent is it computable and shareable? What are the vulnerabilities of our system, and what is our approach to cybersecurity and resilience? These are now top-level corporate issues. And trust, what's the public discussion about the use of data in our city? And in the coming months, we'll be launching that discussion in London so that people can understand what the potential for the use of data is in our city. And we can test what people's appetite is for the use of that data for growth and jobs, but also to develop public services better, especially healthcare or solutions to air quality. So we want to propose a discussion around GDPR in the context of a new deal for city data. And we think that we'd want to work with other cities and counties and parts of local government and city administrators to do that, because it's going to be a key part of our urban infrastructure. We will always operate from now in a data-rich environment, and to a certain extent we have already. We need to make sure that data is not locked in corporate silos, but is turned into a public good for public benefit. And we also see data leadership in local authorities as fundamentally important as digital leadership. That means at the highest level and owned throughout the organisation, you shouldn't just have someone who's interested in technology or whose job it is just being responsible for things. That power needs to be, that responsibility needs to be distributed so that there's not just a corporate lead for technology. There's also, as we're beginning to see in many private sector organisations and councils, a corporate lead for data, whose responsibility is to look at how data is used. And fundamentally, how privacy, sharing and security of customers and citizens' data is now part of what you do. Thank you very much and enjoy your day.